The weight of delay that pressed upon your heart, the countless days where you felt forgotten, the endless nights where you wondered if your prayers even touched the sky, all of that is being lifted right now, in this very moment, because the command has gone forth from heaven, and I am telling you with urgency. You cannot take this lightly, for the shift you have been waiting for has already begun, and if you do not open your eyes now, you will miss the evidence unfolding before you. For the silence you mistook as my absence was never absence, but alignment. Every second of waiting was not punishment but preparation. And though you felt the silence so deeply that it shook your very hope, I was working threads unseen, weaving details into place so that when this hour arrived, nothing could stop it. And now the moment has struck. The clock of heaven has announced its change, and what once looked like delay has turned into divine acceleration. And I urge you, do not waste another breath doubting, because I am here. I am acting, I am shifting mountains in your favor. And those who believe you would remain stuck will soon tremble at the speed of your release, because what chains held you for years cannot withstand what I have spoken today. And this word I give you is not for tomorrow. It is not for some distant promise. It is for this hour, right now, this very instant, and the heaviness that once crushed your chest is lifting, the fog that clouded your vision is clearing, the despair that whispered to you in the night is breaking, because the authority of heaven has declared your waiting season finished. And you need to feel the urgency in my voice, because the movement is not partial, it is not slow, it is not halfway, it is complete, it is powerful, it is unstoppable. And though you wondered why I asked you to carry silence for so long, it is because I wanted you to see what only silence could teach, that even when you had nothing, I was still everything. And now that the hour has come, the shift will be so sudden that you will look back and scarcely believe how quickly despair turned into rejoicing, how fast emptiness turned into overflowing, and the same people who once said you would never see change will have no words. For I am moving in such a way that no hand of man can take the credit, no plan of the enemy can intercept it, and I am telling you again, urgently, this is not the time to fold your arms and wait idly. This is the time to rise, to walk, to claim, to act, because the lifting has already begun. The air around you is different. The heavens above you are open, the sound of release is echoing, and the silence that weighed on your spirit has lost its power. For I have replaced it with the sound of fulfillment, and if you could only see the angels moving at my command, carrying what has your name written on it, if you could only sense how the atmosphere around you has shifted, you would not waste a single second in hesitation, because your wait is over, your silence has ended, your lifting is here, and the hour is now. And as the weight of silence lifts, you must see with clarity that the barriers you stood before, the ones that mocked you with their immovable strength, have been forced wide open by my hand. And this is not a small opening that can close again with the next wind of adversity. This is an irreversible breakthrough, a supernatural unlocking that no man, no enemy, no circumstance can undo. And you must feel the urgency in my words, because the very place where you once knocked until your fists bled with hope, the very threshold where you cried believing no answer would ever come, is now swinging wide, and I tell you plainly, it will not be shut against you again, for I have placed a seal upon it, and my seal cannot be broken, and I warn you with urgency. Do not stand frozen in disbelief as the hinges swing. Do not waste precious time wondering if it is real. Step forward boldly, because I have created this passage for you, not for another, and it has been crafted with your name written across it in eternal ink, and the years you spent staring at a wall were never wasted, because that wall has now become the gateway. And those who told you that the chance had expired will watch in awe as you cross, because what is sealed by heaven cannot be blocked by earth. And I declare with urgency, even the adversaries who position themselves to slam this opportunity shut will find their strength gone, their plans broken, their schemes useless. For I myself have placed my foot in the doorway, ensuring that it remains open until you walk through, and I say to you, do not hesitate. Do not linger on the threshold. Do not doubt if you belong here, because this door was designed for you before time began, and though it looked locked for so long, it was not denied. It was reserved for this hour, and the suddenness of its opening will startle you. It will overwhelm you. It will leave you breathless, because one moment you saw nothing but resistance, and the next you see invitation. One moment you heard silence, and the next you hear calling. One moment you felt pressed out, and the next you feel drawn in. And I emphasize again with urgency, this is not a temporary chance. This is a permanent shift. And no voice, no accusation, no fear will be strong enough to bar this path again, for I have spoken it open, and when I open, no one can close, and when I close, no one can open. And I remind you, child, the very key that could have locked it has been cast away forever. The enemy no longer has access. The hands of men cannot touch it. The only step left is yours, and I am telling you as loud as thunder in your spirit, take that step, for hesitation will cost you the joy prepared on the other side, but courage will allow you to taste the fullness of what I have promised. And I am not speaking of a small opportunity. I am speaking of a destiny-altering doorway, one that leads into rooms you never thought you would enter, one that carries treasures you did not think were meant for you, one that will prove to you and everyone around you that I never forgot. I never abandoned. I never left you at the closed gate for no reason. And now, with sudden force, the door has yielded to my word, and you must walk forward, because it will not close again, not now, not ever. And as you cross through the doorway that no one can ever seal again, you must realize with sharp awareness that the very things you labeled as postponed, the prayers you whispered and then buried under layers of disappointment, the dreams you folded away in the back corners of your soul, have not been forgotten or lost, but rather shaped, refined, and timed for this precise instant. And I speak with urgency so you can grasp the truth before you misinterpret what is unfolding. Nothing you surrendered in tears was wasted. Not a single petition, not a single act of obedience, not a single seed planted in faith went unseen, for I have been arranging circumstances like an intricate tapestry. And although from your vantage point it looked like stillness, from mine it was movement, movement hidden from your eyes but never from your destiny. And now, because the schedule of heaven has struck its hour, what was being crafted out of your sight is stepping into visibility, and you must not let old disappointment blind you to new fulfillment, for this is not a partial answer. This is not a fragile glimpse. This is the manifestation of everything that was maturing while you felt forgotten. And I tell you with intensity, do not call it delay anymore, for it was preparation, and preparation always births strength, and this strength is what will carry you beyond the first breakthrough, because what you receive now will not collapse under pressure. It will not crumble like something premature. It will stand because it has been fortified in the unseen, and I warn you with urgency. If you approach this season with the same posture you had in waiting, you will misstep. But if you approach it with expectation, you will align perfectly with the flow I have released, for everything arriving now has been tailored to your capacity, your calling, your assignment, and the very path you will walk in the coming days, and you must not underestimate it because of its suddenness, for though it appears rapid, it is the result of long craftsmanship, and this moment is not simply an end to waiting, it is the beginning of movement so steady, so unstoppable, that it will feel like one wave after another carrying you forward, and I declare over you with urgency. Let go of the narrative of too late. Let go of the whispers of missed chance, because my timing is flawless and my promises do not expire, and even the years that seemed barren have been quietly feeding the roots of what is now sprouting, and you will watch as these roots produce fruit that outlasts seasons. For I do not give to have it vanish, I give to establish, I give to build, I give to multiply, and the preparation has ensured that what comes now will not harm you. It will lift you. It will strengthen you. It will bless others through you, and every setback you endured was not random pain. It was forging character, building resilience, anchoring your faith, so that when you receive this release, you would not sabotage it through fear, but steward it through courage. And so I speak once more with urgent compassion. Open your hands wide. Open your heart fully. Let expectancy rise again even if hope felt dead, because the moment has come, and what you once called a delay is stepping into your reality as a divine appointment, perfectly timed, perfectly formed, perfectly aligned to everything I said about you before you took your first breath. And now, as the perfectly timed answers begin to manifest around you, you must recognize with unshakable certainty that every wound carried in the shadows, every silent ache you never spoke aloud, every disappointment you thought had crushed your spirit beyond recovery, has not only been seen but transformed into fertile ground, and I speak with urgency so you do not miss this reality. What once felt like devastation has become foundation. What you believed would bear you has instead planted you, and the soil of your hidden suffering has been infused with my power to birth something far greater than you imagined, and this is why you are seeing shoots of new life where once there was only scorched earth, because pain submitted to me is never wasted, and I urge you, do not despise those seasons of secret tears, because they have prepared a depth in you that joy alone could never carve. And now, as the breakthrough rises, it carries resilience, weight, and authenticity that cannot be manufactured, and you must not shy away from its emergence out of fear of being disappointed again. For this is not a fragile sprout destined to wither. This is a mighty root system pressing upward with unstoppable force, nourished by everything you endured. And I tell you again with intensity, you are not weak because you were wounded. You are strong because you survived, and your survival has become the womb of your rising, and as this moment unfolds, you will notice that the very places of past humiliation are turning into stages of vindication. The very locations where you whispered why in confusion are being marked by testimonies so radiant that even those who mocked your endurance will stand speechless. And I emphasize with urgency, lean into this transformation, because resisting it out of self-protection will slow the harvest, but embracing it with faith will accelerate the blossoming, and you will soon see that nothing you experienced has been wasted, not even the darkest hour, not even the most private battle, for I have gathered every shard, every tear, every sigh, and turned them into seeds that are now breaking the surface with unstoppable life. And these seeds are not ordinary. They carry double recompense. They carry generational impact. They carry answers for others who will come after you. And I am pressing this truth into you urgently. Your breakthrough is not simply for you. It is for the multitude who will draw hope from your story. It is for those who are still in their own hidden caves thinking they will never see light again. And because you chose to keep walking when everything told you to stop, you have prepared a pathway of courage for many others, and that is why what rises now will be so public, so undeniable, because I am turning your hidden groaning into a visible testimony, and it will stretch far beyond what you thought your life could hold, and the fragrance of this new growth will overshadow the scent of old ashes, and the memory of pain will lose its sting, because fruitfulness always eclipses famine. And I urge you once more, with love and authority, do not shrink back, do not belittle the magnitude of what is sprouting, because this is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is deliberate, and every root has been watered by my hand until the right hour arrived. And now that it is here, nothing can uproot it, no storm can destroy it, and no enemy can trample it, because the soil of your hidden places has been consecrated for harvest, and harvest has begun. And as the harvest begins to push forth from the very ground watered with your hidden struggles, you must grasp quickly that I have not only seen the outward trials but also every unseen tear you let fall when no one else was near, each drop on your pillow, each silent sob into the darkness that seemed to mock your hope. None of them vanished into nothingness, for I gathered them as precious jewels, and I am telling you urgently, those midnight cries have not gone unanswered, because I have chosen this hour to transform them into a joy so solid, so radiant, that nothing and no one will ever be able to take it from you. And this joy is not fragile emotion. It is not fleeting happiness dependent on circumstances. It is a deep, unshakable gladness rooted in my promise, and it will be so complete that even the memory of your weeping will feel like the prelude to an anthem. And I press this upon you with urgency, because you must not assume your cries were wasted or ignored. They were collected, they were weighed, and they have been exchanged in heaven for a portion of rejoicing that carries permanence. And when I say permanence, I mean laughter that will not vanish at the first sign of trouble. It will not fade with shifting seasons. It will not be taken by criticism. It will not be stolen by disappointment, for I am anchoring it in my eternal faithfulness, and you will soon find that where you once cried in silence, you will burst out in gladness so undeniable that even those around you will feel its overflow. And I must speak this urgently. Do not hold back when it begins, for this joy is not meant to be restrained. It is meant to be released. It is meant to break open the heaviness that tried to bury you. It is meant to echo louder than the nights of sorrow, and you will discover that the more you release it, the stronger it grows, until it becomes a shield against despair and a weapon against fear. And I am warning you with love. Do not let the enemy trick you into thinking you must guard your heart by withholding joy, because the truth is, laughter born from tears is indestructible. It is fortified. It is untouchable. And when it rises in you, it will carry you through valleys that once made you tremble, and it will mark you as one who has seen my goodness in the land of the living. And I declare with urgency, the season of unending mourning is finished. The hour of rejoicing has begun, and no power will reverse it. Not circumstance, not opposition, not even your own doubts, because what I give is permanent, and the sound of this joy will ring louder than the echoes of your pain, and the faces that once looked at you with pity will soon see you radiant with gladness, and they will know it is not manufactured. They will know it is divine, and it will become a testimony greater than words, for your laughter will speak louder than your past grief, and I am commanding you urgently to prepare yourself to embrace it fully, because this is not shallow cheerfulness. This is the fulfillment of the word that those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. And the reaping has begun, and nothing can halt it now. And as the laughter begins to rise from the very places where sorrow once dwelt, you must understand with fierce urgency that the restrictions which bound you, the invisible restraints that made you feel caged when you longed to soar, the forces that whispered you would never break free, are being shattered this very moment under the weight of my power, and you cannot treat this lightly, for this is not a gradual loosening or a partial release. It is a complete breaking, a sudden snapping of shackles that once seemed permanent, and I am pressing this into your spirit with intensity. No man-made barrier, no demonic assignment, no generational curse, no personal weakness has the right to keep you in confinement any longer, because my authority has declared the release, and when I speak, creation itself must bow, and I say with urgency, do not remain sitting in the place of bondage when the lock has been destroyed. Rise and walk forward, for the prison door is not just open. The very bars have dissolved, and the chains have fallen with a sound that resounds in the spiritual realm, announcing that you are no longer a captive, but one who carries liberty. And I warn you, do not let the voice of fear trick you into thinking the restraints are still around your wrists, because fear will attempt to convince you that you are still tied. But I am telling you with undeniable truth, they are gone, they are broken, they are powerless, and my authority has ensured they will never be reforged against you again. For I have overruled every decree that was spoken to limit you. I have overturned every verdict that said you could not move forward, and I have silenced every accuser who demanded you remain bound. And I urge you with intensity, do not delay your step of freedom, because lingering in the mindset of captivity will rob you of the joy prepared in liberation. But when you rise, when you claim the liberty already purchased for you, you will find a strength flowing that you never knew you carried, and you will discover pathways opening that were impossible before, because freedom not only lifts the weight, it releases direction, it ignites momentum, it propels you into places you were always meant to reach. And I say to you urgently, this is not symbolic release, this is literal, this is tangible, this is immediate, and you must believe it with your whole heart, because the sound of chains snapping is echoing in heaven and on earth, and even those who once mocked your struggle will see the evidence of your freedom, and they will know it was not by your might, but by mine. And I tell you with urgency, no force can resist my authority, no stronghold can resist my command, and nothing that once held power over you has any claim now, for I have spoken, and when I declare freedom, it is irreversible, unstoppable, eternal, and you will walk not just in release but in dominion, because I am not only breaking what held you, I am lifting you into a position of authority over what once tormented you, and you will look back and see the fragments of chains on the ground, unable to ever touch you again, and that sight will be a testimony that my authority is final, and my word cannot be undone, and you will know deep within, with laughter still rising in your spirit, that you are truly free, completely free, forever free. And as the sound of shattered restraints still echoes through the unseen realm, a new reality begins to unfold before you. The reality that even the skeptics, the critics, the ones who whispered behind closed doors that your path was pointless, the voices that quietly hoped you would fail or vanish, are about to become spectators of an unveiling so undeniable that their disbelief will be stripped away. And I speak with urgent clarity so you will not underestimate what I am doing now. The transformation in your life will not be hidden in shadows. It will not be subtle. It will not be a faint glow easily explained away. It will be a vivid demonstration of my hand at work, a mark of favor, a public display of what perseverance with me produces, and you must hold this truth with boldness because shame has no place in you anymore. Humiliation has lost its grip, and you will walk forward without shrinking back or trying to make yourself small to avoid attention, for I am lifting you into a place where your story will be seen, and it will glorify my name without you needing to defend yourself. And I urge you with intensity, do not waste time trying to convince those who doubted. Do not fight to change their opinions. Do not rehearse your pain to win their sympathy. Simply move in the direction I am leading, because as you step into this new season, the evidence itself will speak louder than any explanation, and their eyes will not only see your freedom but also the fruit of it. The doors open before you, the joy unshakable within you, the opportunities aligning like constellations, and it will confound them because they will know they did not help you. They may have even hindered you, yet my favor has placed you where no human hand could lift you, and I press this on your spirit urgently. Let humility be your anchor in this elevation, because your rise is not for revenge. It is for revelation. It is to reveal that I am faithful, that I vindicate, that I exalt at the right time, and while they watch, they will also be offered the chance to believe, and some who once doubted will be transformed by what they witness, because your life will become a living sermon that cannot be silenced, and the miracles unfolding around you will dismantle arguments. The fruit visible in your hands will silence accusations, and the peace radiating from you will disarm hostility. And I warn you with urgency not to dim this light out of false modesty, because I intend to shine through you in a way that pierces darkness, and this demonstration is part of your assignment. It is not about applause, it is about impact, and I am urging you to stand steady as it happens, because with visibility comes responsibility, and with honor comes stewardship, and I will give you wisdom to walk this path without arrogance or fear, and those who mocked you will have no choice but to acknowledge that something beyond you, something divine, is at work, and while some will resist, many will soften, and through your journey I will draw hearts to myself, and this is why I emphasize again. Your story is about to shift from contested promise to visible fulfillment, from whispered criticism to undeniable witness, and the evidence of my hand upon your life will stand as a pillar of proof that hope in me is never wasted, and nothing done with me is ever in vain. And as their eyes begin to watch what I am doing through you, I want you to understand with sharp urgency that the things you once regarded as insignificant, the tiny steps, the humble acts of obedience, the quiet offerings, the almost invisible seeds, are standing on the edge of an explosion of increase so vast it will outgrow every limit you placed upon it. This is not a slight improvement, not a subtle enlargement, but an exponential surge that I have been arranging in secret until this hour. You saw little because you were looking with human vision, measuring by human scales. I have been cultivating a magnitude hidden inside the smallness you carried. And now the season has come where hidden potential meets divine momentum, and when these two collide the effect is unstoppable multiplication. I speak this with urgency so you don't treat lightly what is in your hands. What you hold may still look small to you, a simple idea, a quiet assignment, a relationship, a gift you thought was ordinary, but my breath upon it transforms the ordinary into overflow. In this moment, you must not discard anything because of its size. You must not belittle what I call valuable. Everything I asked you to steward during the quiet years is now infused with acceleration. Like a seed that seemed dry and lifeless but suddenly bursts into a forest, what you thought was minor will produce streams that feed many, branches that shelter others, and fruit that sustains generations. And I am warning you with urgency. Prepare your capacity, because the increase coming will require new thinking, new structures, new readiness. The jar you once used to hold your provision will be far too small for what is about to pour. Do not cling to old containers, for they will not hold the abundance. Expand your heart, enlarge your expectation, open your hands wide, because I am about to release so much that your former measurements will break under the weight. And this multiplication will not only astonish those who doubted you, it will surprise even you. It will be a sign of my nature, that I take the smallest offering and turn it into a feast, that I turn a single step into a highway, that I take a whisper of faith and release a roar of victory. I urge you to stay faithful in attitude even as things swell around you, because humility and gratitude will be the soil that allows the increase to keep flowing. Without them, what is given can be squandered. With them, what is given will keep expanding until it touches every area I intend it to. I also want you to know with urgency that this multiplication is not random luck, not coincidence, but deliberate orchestration. It is time so that when it unfolds, the right people, resources, and opportunities will intersect with you, forming a network of impact far greater than you could plan. And you will recognize my hand in how seamlessly it grows, how naturally it spreads, how quickly it reaches beyond your initial circle. What you once held as small will no longer even fit within your old vocabulary. It will no longer be something you can hide. It will radiate. It will overflow. It will become a testimony that I am the one who increases, that nothing given to me stays limited, and that I always exceed expectation at the right time. So stand ready, child. Adjust your posture from waiting to receiving, from maintaining to building, from surviving to thriving, because the moment of multiplication has arrived and nothing can restrain it now. And as what once seemed small begins to swell into abundance, you must grasp this truth with urgency. The days of invisibility are over. No longer will you feel hidden in the crowd, unnoticed in your effort, ignored in your sacrifice. The cloak that once kept you unseen has been removed by my hand, and I declare with authority that your time of recognition is here. For years you labored faithfully where no one applauded, where no one valued the cost, where you questioned if what you carried even mattered. Yet I was watching every moment, counting every act, storing every offering. And now, because the moment of unveiling has come, I will not allow your light to remain covered. I am pulling you from the shadows into places where eyes will see and ears will hear what I placed within you. I speak this with urgency so you don't shrink back when attention comes, because humility does not mean hiding what I have done. Humility means pointing the glory back to me when the honor falls on you. And honor is coming. Not for your pride, but for my purpose. For those who overlooked you will soon realize they were blind, not because you lacked worth, but because I concealed you until the time was ripe. Concealment was never rejection. It was protection, keeping you from premature exposure, shielding you from battles you weren't ready to fight, saving you for a platform prepared in fullness. Now the shield lifts. Now visibility increases. Now the spotlight of destiny turns toward you, not by human arrangement but by divine appointment. And I urge you, do not resist this moment out of fear, because recognition is not about vanity. It is about assignment. I need your voice heard, your presence seen, your story witnessed, so that others will be drawn to the hope they desperately need. And as this recognition comes, it will not be fragile applause that fades quickly. It will be enduring respect, rooted in the undeniable evidence of my hand. Those who once disregarded you will be forced to reckon with a change they cannot explain. Even the ones who belittled you will be unable to deny the fruit now displayed openly. And I warn you with urgency, do not become distracted by their opinions, positive or negative, for your worth has never depended on their validation. The recognition I give you is not man's approval. It is my acknowledgement of your faithfulness, and it carries authority that no one can strip away. You will stand in rooms you once thought unreachable. You will be called into conversations you never dreamed possible, and you will see doors open simply because my favor has placed recognition upon you. This is not a time to question if you belong. This is the time to step fully into the calling that being seen requires. The world cannot benefit from what stays hidden. That is why I am unveiling you now, and I emphasize urgently, walk confidently, not arrogantly, knowing that this recognition was never self-made, but divinely orchestrated. And as it unfolds, it will ripple outward, touching areas you never touched before, influencing lives you never imagined reaching. The season of obscurity is finished. The page has turned. You stand in the chapter where what was concealed becomes revealed, where what was dismissed becomes celebrated, and where what was hidden becomes highlighted for my glory. So lift your head, steady your heart, and step forward, because the time of recognition is not coming. It has already arrived. And as the veil of obscurity lifts and recognition begins to surround you, you must be alert, because I am not leaving you to walk this new chapter alone. I am releasing into your path people appointed by my Spirit, individuals carrying solutions to petitions you thought had vanished into silence. And I speak this urgently because you must discern quickly who they are. For these are not ordinary connections. They are divinely assigned helpers whose very presence will unlock doors and remove burdens that once felt impossible to shift. You cried in seasons where no one comprehended the depth of your need. You whispered requests that seemed too heavy for human ears, and though men could not understand, I stored every plea. And now I am packaging answers inside chosen vessels who will arrive at the right time, carrying wisdom, resources, opportunities, and encouragement tailored specifically to your journey. Do not miss them by assuming help must look grand or come from familiar places. Many will arrive in ways you least expect, humble, quiet, unnoticed at first, but carrying keys to unlock hidden doors. And I urge you with urgency, do not reject what I send because it seems unusual, for I often wrap great breakthroughs in ordinary coverings to test the posture of your heart. Some of these helpers will speak words that shatter confusion in an instant. Others will provide guidance that feels like light piercing a tunnel. Still others will extend hands that remove practical weight so you can focus on the higher call. And I tell you with intensity, these are not temporary acquaintances. They are covenant carriers of answers, positioned by my design, moving in step with the timing of heaven. I caution you urgently, discernment is required, because alongside true helpers the enemy may send counterfeits to drain and distract, but you will know mine by the peace that accompanies them, by the alignment of their words with what I have already whispered to your spirit, by the fruit they carry that testifies to my presence. Welcome them, honor them, walk with them, for they are instruments in my hand, and as you receive them, the weight you carried alone will suddenly feel lighter, the path that felt overwhelming will become possible, and the strategies you lacked will be placed before you like pieces of a puzzle finally fitting together. And I emphasize with urgency, you are not meant to build alone. You are not designed to fight every battle in isolation. I created partnership, community, and alignment so that my plans can manifest in fullness. These helpers are answers, but they are also signs that I have always been attentive to your cries, even when it felt like no one heard. You will look at them and realize, this is what I prayed for, even when I had no words. And the recognition that I have been weaving answers through human vessels will strengthen your faith, reminding you that I move both supernaturally and through the hands of those I send. So prepare your heart to receive, prepare your eyes to see, prepare your spirit to discern, because the arrival of these helpers is not a distant promise. They are already on the way, and they will not be late. And as the helpers I have ordained begin to align with your journey, you will soon witness something you never thought possible. Those who actively opposed you, those who spoke against you, those who tried to push you down or block your path, will find themselves unable to deny what I am placing upon your life. I speak this with urgency so you will not be surprised when opposition turns into reluctant recognition, because my favor cannot be hidden, and when I choose to exalt someone, no enemy has power to reverse it. For years you endured resistance, harsh words, silent betrayals, closed doors, mocking glances, and you wondered if their voices had more strength than my promises. But I am showing you now that my decree overrules every accusation. The very mouths that once spread lies will be silenced by the weight of evidence they cannot refute. They may not want to admit it, but the undeniable fruit in your life will compel them to acknowledge that you are marked, that you are chosen, that you are carried by something beyond human effort. I warn you with urgency. Do not waste energy trying to vindicate yourself, for vindication is mine alone, and I will do it in such a way that it humbles your adversaries while exalting my name. Some who cursed you will be left speechless, others will be forced to retract their words, and still others will come to you seeking the very help they once refused. This is the reversal I am bringing, not for your ego, but for my glory, so that every watching eye sees that no weapon formed against you can prosper. And I must urge you, when this happens, do not allow bitterness to rise, Let mercy rule your heart, for your grace in victory will reveal me even more than your triumph itself. You will stand before people who doubted your worth, and instead of gloating, you will shine with generosity, and through this posture they will see my character reflected in you. I emphasize this urgently. Their acknowledgement is not about you receiving validation. It is about them seeing the reality of my hand. When I raise you, the contrast will be undeniable. They will say, we thought they would fail, yet they stand. We tried to bury them, yet they rise. We closed doors, yet more opened. This testimony will pierce hearts, even among those who harden themselves against you, because favor has a sound and a sight that cannot be hidden. And this is why I urge you not to fear those who plot against you now, because their efforts will become stepping stones for your ascent. Their schemes will backfire, their traps will collapse, and their words will turn into platforms that display your endurance. You will look back and realize that the opposition you faced only made the unveiling sweeter, for their resistance could not cancel my design. And in the end, they will bow not to you, but to the undeniable truth that I am with you. So stand firm, child. Do not retaliate. Do not be shaken, for soon even your enemies will be witnesses to the favor that rests upon you, and they will know it was I who did it, and no one else. And as the very ones who opposed you begin to bow beneath the weight of evidence they cannot deny, I must draw your attention with urgency to a deeper truth. Those secret wars you carried within, the struggles no one else could see, the nights where you wrestled in silence while smiling in public, the inner storms that raged even when you looked calm on the outside, they have already been settled under my authority. You thought you were still fighting, still clawing for survival, still at risk of being overtaken by shadows too strong, but the verdict has already been spoken. Victory is yours. I declare this with intensity because I know how easily the memory of those private struggles can make you feel as though the battle is still ongoing. But I am telling you clearly, what once tormented your soul has been dismantled. The giants you faced in hidden corners have been struck down. The chains you wrestled against in solitude are broken. The spiritual opposition that tried to suffocate your hope has been overthrown. And I emphasize urgently, do not live as if you are still trapped in warfare that has already been concluded. I fought where you could not. I conquered what you could not defeat. I silenced voices you could not shut, and I dismantled weapons forged in secret against you. What you endured alone was never truly alone. My presence surrounded you even when you felt abandoned. My strength held you up even when you collapsed in exhaustion. My hand shielded you even when you thought the blows were too heavy. And now, because the unseen fight has already been decided in your favor, you must rise with a new confidence, knowing that every threat against your spirit has been nullified. I urge you with urgency, stop rehearsing old battles in your mind, stop replaying moments of fear, stop imagining defeat where I have already planted triumph. The outcome is finished, the victory is secure, and you will now see the ripple of this win manifest in every area of your life. What once drained your strength will no longer have access. What once whispered defeat will now fall silent. What once consumed your focus will no longer distract. And those around you will wonder how you walk with such unshakable peace, not knowing that the fiercest fight was already settled by me long before they saw the evidence. I speak this so you will not waste time bracing for battles that are over. Instead, step boldly into the spoils of war that belong to you. I have not only delivered you, I have positioned you to take ground that was once denied. And the strength you gained in those secret struggles will now become a weapon in your hand to help others facing their own invisible wars. I urge you, do not hide the story. The testimony of how I met you in your lowest places will carry power to free others who think they are alone. For I have turned your private fight into a public testimony of my dominion. And I say again with urgency, the hidden battle is not continuing. It is concluded. It is finished, and finished in my name. And as the hidden battles fade into history and you begin to stand in the reality of victory already secured, a new movement begins to surge around you, the movement of restoration. I speak this with urgency so that you understand its magnitude. You have mourned over time that seemed lost, seasons you believed had slipped through your fingers, chances that you thought had been taken from you forever. You felt as though entire years were consumed by hardship, as though doors you once dreamed of had slammed shut too long ago to open again. But I am declaring now, with a power that cannot be revoked, that not only am I redeeming what appeared gone, I am multiplying it. What was consumed will be returned in fullness. What was stolen will be compensated beyond its original value. The harvest coming to you will not be a mere replacement but a doubling, an overflow that makes up for everything you thought would never be recovered. And I emphasize urgently, do not limit your expectation to the size of what you lost. My restoration does not simply fill old gaps, it creates new abundance. It takes what was barren and makes it bloom. It takes what was empty and makes it overflow. It takes what was broken and makes it stronger than it ever was. Every setback you endured will become a platform for a greater comeback. Every lost season will turn into a launching ground for fresh acceleration. I am urging you to prepare mentally and spiritually for this surge, because it will arrive not as a slow trickle but as a sudden release. You will begin to see doors open in areas you had stopped praying for, opportunities resurface in forms you did not expect, relationships healed in ways you thought impossible, skills sharpened beyond what you had before. This is the mystery of my restoration. It redeems time itself. The years the enemy devoured are being compressed into a season of rapid gain, and the very timeline of your life is being rewritten so that no moment of suffering is wasted. And I speak this with intensity so you will not stand hesitant when this acceleration begins. When the doubling manifests, step into it boldly. Do not sabotage it with guilt over what you lost or fear that it is too good to be true. It is not luck. It is not coincidence. It is my promise unfolding in front of you. I will bring to your memory dreams you once shelved. I will resurrect visions you buried. I will align you with opportunities so tailored to you that you will know only I could orchestrate them. And I warn you urgently, be ready to let go of old mindsets so you can hold what I am giving now. If you cling to the identity of someone who has lost, you will struggle to carry the identity of someone who has gained. But if you embrace this shift, you will walk into a season where the weight of former losses cannot even compare to the joy of current restoration. People will see you and marvel at the transformation, not realizing that it is not just blessing but recompense, repayment for everything endured. And you will stand as living proof that nothing surrendered to me is ever gone. It is stored, multiplied, and returned at the appointed time. So open your heart fully, lift your head high, and stretch your hands wide, because the restoration has already begun, and it is coming in double measure. And as the wave of restoration begins to flood every corner of your life with recompense far beyond what you imagined, I must speak urgently about the torment that lingered in your inner world. For though chains have fallen, and enemies have been silenced, there has still been that persistent whisper in your mind, that echo of dread, that gnawing suspicion that disaster might strike again, that fragile sense that joy could vanish as quickly as it came. You carried those inner voices like shadows in the background, often invisible to others yet loud to you, and they tried to convince you that breakthrough was not real, that hope would betray you again, that healing could never be complete. But I am declaring now with authority, those voices are losing their power, because my peace is entering to displace them entirely. This peace is not fragile like human reassurance, not temporary like fleeting comfort. It is eternal, unshakable, stronger than the storm, deeper than the doubt, and once it fills your mind, the grip of fear will collapse. I urge you with intensity, do not fight those voices in your own strength, for your striving cannot quiet them. Instead, yield to my presence, for my peace is not an idea but a force, and when it enters, fear cannot coexist. Fear thrives on chaos, but peace builds order. Fear feeds on uncertainty, but peace anchors with certainty. Fear magnifies what could go wrong, but peace magnifies what I have already secured. And I say urgently, the haunting is over. The relentless cycle of anxious thoughts that circled like vultures has ended. You will no longer wake with dread gnawing at your chest. You will no longer fall asleep rehearsing worst-case outcomes. You will no longer lie bracing for collapse when I have already established stability. For my peace is not just settling over you. It is taking residence within you, guarding your heart like a fortress, and surrounding your mind like a wall of fire. And as it fills you, you will notice the silence, the absence of inner torment, the quiet where once there was noise, the calm where once there was panic. Do not mistake that silence for emptiness. It is fullness. It is my presence resting inside you, ensuring that fear cannot return. And I tell you with urgency, when this happens, lean into it. Do not search for the voices that are gone. Do not wonder if they will return. Rest in the reality that I have silenced them permanently. And as you rest, clarity will rise where confusion once clouded, confidence will blossom where hesitation once crippled, courage will drive you where anxiety once restrained you. Others will look at you and marvel, not understanding how the one who once trembled now walks boldly, how the one who once second-guessed every step now moves with certainty. It will be evidence that peace is not passive, it is power, it is authority. It is my presence manifesting in the deepest parts of you. And I declare again, urgently, the haunting is finished, the torment is silenced, and peace has come, peace that cannot be stolen, shaken, or broken, peace that endures through every season, peace that now defines you. And as my peace settles like a fortress around your mind and heart, you must hear this urgent call rising in your spirit. It is time to move forward with courage, not with hesitation, not with the shrinking fear that once held you back, but with the boldness that comes from knowing the one who called you has already cleared the way. There were visions you tucked away because they seemed too impossible. There were desires you buried because disappointment convinced you they were unreachable. There were promises you once celebrated but later questioned if they were even meant for you. But now I declare with authority that those very things are opening before you, and I am commanding you to step into them without delay. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait for every question to be answered. Do not wait for people to understand your journey. Move now, because the season has shifted, the atmosphere has changed, the ground beneath you has been prepared, and the doors ahead are already swinging wide. I speak this with urgency. Hesitation in this moment will rob you of momentum. Boldness is required, faith is demanded, and courage is the key that unlocks the fullness of what has been promised. I am not calling you into something fragile or unstable. I am drawing you into territory that has been secured through battles you did not see. The land you feared was unattainable has already been claimed in your name, and now all that remains is your step of obedience. And I urge you not to compare your pace with others, not to measure your path against what others have walked, for this promise is specific to you, written with your story, marked by your assignment. I have crafted it with intention, and no one else can carry it. Do not allow the memory of past failures to chain your feet to the ground, for those failures are already covered, already erased, already powerless. Lift your head, steady your heart, and move forward, because this is not a rehearsal. This is the appointed time. Every provision needed will appear as you walk. Every resource required will align as you step. Every answer longed for will unfold along the way. But if you wait to see it all before you move, you will miss the miracle hidden in the motion. I press this urgently. Faith is not standing still hoping. Faith is moving toward what I said even when it looks out of reach. And as you walk, you will discover that what once felt distant becomes near, what once felt closed becomes open, what once felt impossible becomes reality. This is the power of my promise. It bends reality to align with my word. So take courage, a child. Step forward. Step boldly. Do not linger in the place of wondering anymore. The hour of wondering has ended. The hour of walking has begun. And as you move, you will see not only the fulfillment of what I spoke, but the transformation of who you are. For this step will mark you. It will stretch you. It will confirm to everyone around you that you are carrying something greater than yourself, and it will testify that the one who called you is faithful. I urge you again, do not wait another moment. Step into what I placed before you, for it is yours, and no power on earth or in hell can take it away. The time is now. The promise is real. The path is open. Walk in it with boldness, for this is your appointed inheritance. Smut the message and end with Amen.